Hi there and welcome to the screencast. Tonight I'm going to solve some of the problems you will probably see on quiz 567 on simplifying radicals and solving quadratic equations. So let's get to it. In the first problem here we're asked to simplify the square root of 300. So I'm going to start by doing a factor tree of 300. And 300 is, let's see, it would be 3 times 100. 100 is 10 and 10, 2 and 5, and 10 is 2 and 5. Okay, so now, let's see, I have 2 2's and 2 5's and a 3. So let me write 300 as a 3, 2 2's, and 2 5's. And now I go through, and anytime I see anything to the second power, I can cross it out and write one of them outside the radical. And oops, and that should have been a 5. So I get 5 times 2 is 10 radical 3. And that's my simplified version of square root of 300. Alright, the first few words in tonight's sentence are, it has become appallingly. Okay, in the next one, I'm asked to simplify the square root of 8 k cubed times k cubed. So let's see, 8 is 2 and 4, and that's 2 and 2. So that means I can write 8 as 2 squared times 2, because I have one pair of 2's and one left over. And then I'm going to write k cubed as k squared times k. And now I'm going to go through and I can cross out one of anything that is in a set of a pair, and that leaves me with 2k outside the radical and 2k inside the radical. And I am finished. Alright, the next few words in tonight's sentence are obvious that. So, obvious that. Alright, in this one I'm actually asked to simplify a pretty simple problem. So I have the square root of 5 over 36. Well, 36 is 6. Square root of 36 is 6, so essentially I had a one-step problem. And I'm all set. Alright, in the next one, let's see, I have 4 radical 7 over 2 radical 8. So when I simplify the square root of 8, I find that that's 2 squared times 2. So that's 2 radical 2. So I have 4 root 7 over 2 times 2 radical 2. Okay, 4 over 2 times 2, that's 4 over 4. So those drop out. And now I'm up to radical 7 over radical 2. So I need to rationalize by multiplying the numerator and denominator by what's in the radical in the denominator. And I'm going to get the square root of 14 over 2. And I'm all set. Okay, moving on. Let's see. So now I actually have some quadratic equations to solve. So in the first one, I'm going to solve by taking square roots, and I do that by first isolating the variable with the exponent on the left side of the equation. So in this one, that means I have to divide by 4. So now I have n squared equals 1/4, and now I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and I'm going to get n equals, let's see, plus or minus. The square root of 1/4 is really the square root of 1 over the square root of 4, which is plus or minus 1/2. And that's my solution. The next few words in tonight's sentence are our technology. That's our technology. Okay, in the next one I'm also going to solve by taking square roots. So the first thing I need to do, this time I'm trying to isolate that by itself. So let me go ahead and do that. And I get that. Alright, now I'm ready to take the square root of both sides of the equation. So when I do that, I'm left with a minus 2 on the left and plus or minus the square root of negative 52 on the right. And then I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And that's going to be, let's see, a equals 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 52. So I know that I can simplify 52. It's divisible by 4, and if I do a factor tree of it, I'm going to get, let's see, 2 and 26 and 2 and 13. So that means 52 is really 2 squared times 13, or 2 root 13. Now because this is the square root of negative 52, I know it's going to actually be 2I root 13 instead of just 2 root 13. So that means I'm going to be left with a equals 2 plus or minus 2I root 13. And that is my solution. Alright, the next few words are the words has exceeded our. That's has exceeded our. Alright. Let's see. I think I'm almost done here. Okay, I just now have 2 that I'm going to solve using the quadratic formula. So to use the quadratic formula, I need all the terms on the left, and then I just pick out my a value, my b value, and my c value. And then I use the formula x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, my b value is negative 5. So I'm going to get 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared would be negative 5 squared. It's going to give me 25. And then minus 4 times negative 2 times 25. And that's going to be all over 2a. A is negative 2, so 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4. So now let me simplify. So I'm going to let's see, 5 plus or minus. Okay, negative 4 times negative 2 is 8 times 25 is 200. So I'm going to get 25 plus 200, and that's all going to be divided by negative 4. Okay, well guess what? 225 is a perfect square. That happens to be 15 squared. So I can simplify that to being 5 plus or minus 15 over negative 4. Alright, so what that means is 5 plus 15 over 4 and 5 minus 15 all divided by 4. 5 plus 15 over 4 is 20 over 4. That gives me 5. And the last and the bottom one gives me 5 minus 15, or negative 10 over 4, which is negative 5 halves. So those are my 2 solutions. Alright, and in the final problem for tonight, I'm going to solve using the quadratic formula, but I'm going to have to move those terms over to the left before I can use the formula, which is what the rule is. You always need a 0 on the right before using the quadratic formula. So I'm going to subtract from both sides, or subtract 2 and add 7x to both sides. That's going to give me 2x squared minus x plus 5 equals 0. And so now I'm going to use the quadratic formula, and a is going to be 2, b is going to be negative 1, and c is going to be 5. And the formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, I'm going to get, let's see, 1 plus or minus square root of b squared is going to give me 1 minus 4ac. So that's going to be 4 times 2 is 8, times 5 is 40. So I'm going to subtract 40, and then I'm going to divide by 2 times 2, which is 4. So that's going to give me 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 39 over 4. And the only thing I can do with 39 is pull out an I. And that's my solution. Oops. Okay, the final word in tonight's secret sentence is the word humanity. So the completed sentence is, it has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity, which, by the way, as an aside, is a quote from Albert Einstein. All right, I hope you found this helpful and that somebody actually watched it. And get a good night's sleep. We will see you tomorrow, or in the case of my period 7 CD class, on Wednesday. So have a good night. Cheers.